Now this year I've been focusing so much on learning the Russian language, the country where I was born in, because I came here when I was 2 years old, and that piece of my identity has always been something that I've always been careful with, because I always really know that I want to connect more with my Russian roots and learn more about my Russian background, and of course those extra links that I have inside of Ukraine and also in Kazakhstan. But this in particular is for those links inside Russia. And now I've been studying with a private teacher this year and immersing myself around the language. I can have a conversation basic with my birth father, and of course I've been also talking with my birth mother when I can. Of course that relationship has always been quite difficult, but when I do call her and talk to her in Russian. She speaks quite fast. She does speak quite fast. So does my birth father. But me picking up those pieces for myself and being able to converse in a very basic conversation is something I'm really proud of at the moment. Now I wrote something that I really want to say, and I wrote it out in Russian here. And with the immersion that I've been doing, I've been writing out notes, I've been practicing so many words and making sure I can pick up more and more, because when I was a kid, I was really not interested at all with my Russian culture. I asked questions to my parents and they're always very open, and I'm so grateful to have been raised by my family because they raised me to who I am today. But those missing pieces with my identity as a child did not really come to light until I became a teenager, and just trying to understand and figure out more about where I came from has always been questions I had as a teenager, until I eventually tracked down my birth parents when I was 21. I thought the age of 21 was appropriate at the time, and just one thing that really did affect me was when I got to Russia and connected with my birth family, but I couldn't even read any signs. I had no idea anything of what was being said. It really affected me because I told myself I was born here, but I don't understand, and it's part of that identity that it's like this and this, and it's just been broken away. That's what it felt like. I felt like it was way in the distance. It felt like a past life of mine. There was something missing. I know that, of course, with any birth mother giving up the child, they also have the other side where they've given up a child and it's not easy. And I can understand the circumstance with that is very hard. But now with moments for myself, I've been practicing and really getting myself a head around the language. And this is what I wrote. I just wanted to say this here in the video because I know many of you have been asking me, how's your Russian? What have you been doing with it? And it comes and goes. And this time last year as well, I was studying as well. I had a teacher, so I continued on with that this year, and it's been just awesome because now I'm really enjoying it. And I know that for anybody that wants to learn the language, if anybody is adopted from Russia, or if you want to learn the Russian language, really having yourself a private teacher and immersing yourself and putting words into play, learning about the grammar later on, I think all of that really does help. I'm not fluent, so don't take my advice like that directly. I'm not a teacher, nothing like that. I'm still learning. I've got so long to go, and it's going to take me a little longer, a little while before I can actually have a full conversation completely fluent. Well, I think I'm getting there. I'm getting to that, not finish line, I'm getting to the starting line, but it's still going to take some time. But this is what I wrote. Когда я родился, меня звали Саша. Потом мои новозеландские родители называли меня Алексом. Когда я вышел из детского дома, или ребенок дома. Я не помню детского дома. Я не помню русского языка. Это моя история, это моя жизнь. Добро пожаловать. So that's just a little bit there, but of course there is so much more to go. And there's actually some more writing in here, but I'll read out a little bit more because I know that so many of you want to see what I'm up to with learning, and this is what my Russian writing looks like. As you can see, it's still getting there. Мне нравится русская зима. Снег, лед, все. Я живу в Окленде. У нас нет снега. Зима у нас теплая. Alex, okay. Что ты ешь на завтрак? So what do you eat for breakfast? На завтрак я ем много. Я пью кофе и ем кашу. На обед я ем много тоже. А что ты ешь на обед? This is like a conversation I'm writing. So this is what helps me learn so much. Мне нравится картошка тоже. I like potatoes too. So excuse the silly conversation, but I know it really does help me because it helps me piece an element with my identity. And I know that so many ways with other adoptees all across the world, we all have our different way of trying to connect with that, whether it's culture, language, birth family, whether you're trying to pick up memories. If you're adopted out at a later age, memories does play a big part of your identity. Of course, with myself, I came here at the age of 2, so I don't remember anything from Russia, but my parents, when I was growing up, they always told me so much about where we came from. My brother and I were both adopted from the same orphanage at the same time, but we always had questions for our parents to try and pick up and ask and figure it out as a child, because when I grew older, I started to research more, learn about the culture, and pick up those pieces and put them together. Of course, with pulling out my adoption papers, I had names on there, but that was another whole aspect of it. That was another whole puzzle. And I knew that there was some sort of formation of a loss. There was something that was in the background, but I couldn't put my hand on it. I couldn't comprehend exactly what was going on because I was young at the time. So I wanted to understand what happened all those years ago. And the only way I could do that is by researching or learning more or eventually tracking down my birth family. But I know for every adoptee, we all have our own path to take, whether it's searching for birth family or learning about your culture. And this is how I do. One of the aspects of that is by learning more of the Russian language and connecting with my birth family, as well as talking openly with my parents as well, all about this and with what I'm learning and those connections I'm making as well. Really helps me build my identity. I have a New Zealand side, I have a Russian side, I have that personality all mixed to make me who I am. And I know that, my notebook still needs some work and I'm still working on that progress, but this is part of who I am as a person. So thank you all so much. Please look after yourselves. And until next time, до свидания из Новой Зеландии. И спасибо большое. Пока. Спасибо.